Blog Talk Radio.
Playing the Dolphins this week. Move the hot Cavaliers out of the way, and let's give Cleveland Guardians their props, having the exec of the year there. But this is the show that's sweeping the country at the moment, and it's the American Sports History Podcast, hosted by my good friend, a brother, a mentor, Peter Ray. Yours truly, Mark Mancini, producing in Los Angeles. 347-205-9631. Goes by quick. Catch the archive on blogtalkradio.com/Mancini Sports. Podcast platforms, wherever you subscribe to podcasts, powered now by Mancini Media. More of him, less of me. 97 strong right now. We'll get to your questions. Let me lay the red carpet down. Put the podium in its place. Hand off the mic who's taking the election today. Peter, first of all, how are you? Second of all, how can people get a hold of you? And third of all, you've got your partner in crime again on this show.
Hi, Mark. I'm doing well. I have a YouTube channel. It's the channel name is my name, Peter J. REA, and you're absolutely right. Wow, what an honor and a privilege to have a two-time World Series champion on the show again for the 9th time. He played Major League Baseball from 1971 to 1981 with the Chicago Cubs, Oakland A's, Los Angeles Dodgers, San Francisco Giants. Won 2 World Series in 1973 and 74 with the Oakland A's. 395 stolen bases. 2-time American League stolen base leader. More than 1,000 hits. The first Oakland A's designated hitter. Won a National League title in 1978 with the L.A. Dodgers. 3 times led the American League in total chances per game. Twice in putouts. First in assists from the outfield on a double play. What an honor and a privilege to have on the show again, Mr. Bill North.
Hey, Peter. Hey, Mark. How are you guys?
We're fine. We're doing well. We have you on. We have Bill North on, so everything's good. First of all, let's talk about the World Series. I were just talking about it a while ago. Boy, I really feel like we're all jealous of World Series champions, and Cleveland hasn't won since 1948. And we're talking about this hatred. I think we should give the Astros credit, and even for the earlier one. And the main thing is, the thing is, my dear wife Alice, she knows that I'm friends with Bill North, and you're friends with Dusty. She was rooting for the Astros because of you, Bill, and watching Dusty Baker, Bill North's friend. And so, what are your thoughts, Bill, on the Astros winning the World Series and your dear friend Dusty Baker being the manager of that team?
Wow. The good part about it is I think that they were at one point in the season 11-11. And from that point on, they took the lead and went the whole way. And what a great year. And then to come into that World Series and have it work the way it did. What a great pitching staff and some timely hitting. They didn't hit that much, but they hit in spots. And I'm just glad for my friend that one of the greatest persons people anybody could ever meet. And I met him in 1969, and he is the same today as he was then. the same person, which is a compliment to his parents, and I'm just so happy for him. Good man, good people.
Yeah, it was right after they won. He was in the dugout, and all these guys were like pounding him on the back. I saw he was wearing these gloves, and he had his his gloved hand on this screen, and he was holding. You could see he was holding on real hard. I thought, oh, come on, guys, take it easy on the old guy there, because he's 73. And but anyway, what's interesting is that he was on deck when Henry Aaron broke Babe Ruth's all-time record. So that's so cool, and I remember him well as a '70s star player. And yeah, he won a World Series in '81 with the Dodgers, and of course you guys were together on the '78 Dodgers. So yeah, I was so happy for him, for you, and and I guess 73. Wow, it's amazing. He's still doing that. Tremendous.
Yeah. Well, it's the kind of thing too that the way that the people reacted when he got that World Series was an attestament to his baseball career and the person that he is. One of the things is those players in unison chimed in their joy for being able to get that World Series for him. And right there is a testament. He's a player's manager. He still talks to players that, matter of fact, players that he played with back in the day, but as a coach and a manager, his players, all of the players, loved him. And I mean, I imagine there was somebody that had to be spanked once in a while, which he would do, but as far as it goes, the attestment to the fact that so many people that he's affected in the game think so much of him, and they love him so much, and how he still has time for all of them. It's one of the craziest things you ever see.
Yeah, it's nice to see a guy who's 73 who's still very relevant. A guy from my era as a boy following baseball in the 70s when he was a star player with Atlanta and then LA, and that he's at his age 73 he's still able to overcome the generation difference and be some people get older, they're like, oh, these young people, but he's so it just shows it's and I guess there are a lot, not just you, a lot of people were happy for him, and of course they remembered him and losing a tough 0-2 series with the Giants, and then with the Cubs, getting them knocking on the door of the World Series. A lot of people remember that. Phil from Sugar Land, Texas. Congratulations, Bill, on your buddy Dusty Baker. Get him on with you all. Hi, Peter. Any more thoughts on Dusty Baker, Bill?
Yeah. We can do that. I know, but talking to him, he's going to have a pretty busy off season. But I'd love to have him on. Yeah,
that's he's in demand.
If you had him on, what you find is that he has a range of a vast range of facets to his life. And that he's very interesting, and he lives his life in curiosity. He just tries to he learned how to make grapes from the Mondavis. He was a good friend of them, and he has a solar energy company, and he's a favorite son of the Indian tribe in Montana, and that he just, I'm a Dusty Baker fan. He's like a brother to me, and we've been through good times and bad times, and I know in my life it's good to have somebody like that in my life. It's an honor to have somebody like that, and we know he knows where my bodies are buried, and I know where a couple of his are too.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, so a lot of people were, especially older people who remember and remember him play, and also people who just know he's a good guy like you. Let's see, we got Tim from Shaker Heights, Ohio. Wow, the best show in Cleveland. Thank you so much, Tim. Hi, Billy and Peter. Congratulations to Houston. They were faced with adversity. How they responded was amazing.
It's a funny thing though is how they only scored once or twice a game. I'll bet you $1 to a dime in innings of scoring. I'll bet you this World Series was had one of the fewest total innings of scoring, because Philadelphia was that way too. It's odd that pitching would be so dominant, but everybody would have 1 or 2 innings, and they get 5 runs.
The thing that I wasn't following the Astros this year very much, didn't know a lot about them, but the thing I remember is the Yankees were playing like 7:30 baseball in May, maybe into May or June, and the Astros were pretty much 670 all year, real good, strong season, and so. And they were just a good team, and then I think also this is important to me. Character is Dusty. You can testify to me. That's what's important. And you said the players loved him, and so that to me that's what's important is love. And it's not yelling at guys all the time, and it just shows the power of love and good character.
Yeah, but another thing though, the Yankees were 52-18. And they ended up with 99 wins. Okay. So that means there were 63 losses. Okay. So they pretty much played 500 ball of the second half of the season.
They really faded, yeah.
The Astros and the Phillies had a terrible first part of the season, and then they hit stride. And but Houston, like I said, was 11-11, and then they went wide from that point to the end with 106 wins, and then went 7-0 in their first postseason games. What a season!
Denise from San Francisco, California. I remember Dusty out here. Class act and a player's manager. Any comment?
Yeah, that's what he was. If you looked, if you knew how many of his former players, he goes hunting with them and fishing and all that. But these guys, it's like a fraternity, the Dusty Baker fraternity, and those guys love him. I can't think of, other than Tony, what's his name? La Russa, I can't think of too many people that dislike him.
Yeah, well, I'm just glad a guy from my era is still around and still relevant, because it seems like it's a young person's game, and the managers are often young because it's like such a tough. They think, you got to have a young guy because it's so much. The media has gotten such a hard time. Here he's 73 years old, and he wins, and that's the oldest ever. That's a record.
Which is great, but because
because us old guys, we want to, we should be nice when old guys are successful.
Yeah, but and there's a thing also. The game has changed so much as far as analytics. And to be a manager, and he's from the old era, and we weren't thinking about computers and all that kind of stuff, but now that's the era, and for him to still intersperse analytics and his older baseball mentality, because he still looks at players and he looks at their talent, and he deals a lot with instinct. You know, there's a lot of people in baseball that run those analytics these days that have never been around the game other than that, and have never played the game, and there are fewer and fewer managers that actually played the game.
Sal from Germantown, Pennsylvania. Congratulations to the Houston Astros. They took out my Philadelphia Phillies. Any comment, Bill?
Yeah, hey, man, Phillies came to play. They had a good year. I'm old school to the point that I just think you need to be there once because experience is such a big factor in that arena there. And I think that it won't do anything but help the Phillies. But I think you have to be there and lose once for you to figure it out, because there's a lot of dynamics to that situation there. And everybody else is at home watching you, so you must have had a pretty good year, you know. And the Phillies played good ball. They played good ball. But like I said, 90% of the World Series was very intense and very well played with a level of pressure. But Phillies had an excellent roster too, but during the times one team would get ahead and then their roster would close out. And it was just a strange series because of the intensity and the domination of pitching, but they'd have one inning or they'd have two innings where they do that, and then it put them on that road to their bullpen, and both bullpens showed up pretty good. Alvarado that guy hit a home run. Alvarado hit a home run off the fastest pitch he had ever hit a home run, 99 miles an hour. And, you know, that's a lot of gas right there.
Yeah, I thought
the temperature was real hot with that velocity. They were running it up there in the high 90s the whole series.
Yeah, I thought if Houston lost this year, then that would have meant that they lost like 3 out of 4 World Series, because they won in 17, and they lost 2 since then. So that's really tough. Dave from Spokane, Washington. Any thoughts on the World Baseball Classic? I like the United States to win this tournament in March.
Yeah, thoughts are that that baseball season will start a little bit late. Spring training will be obtuse, but they do that, and it's a wonderful thing. I actually went to one I think it was in the 80s, San Diego, and I got on the elevator with a guy named Sadaharu O, and he was the greatest Japanese baseball player to ever play the game. Hit more home runs than Hank Aaron, and he was a deity. And I got his autograph. He's just a wonderful man. But you talking about high cotton right there. You guys look him up. Sadaharu O. He is a deity in Japan, and the bad part about it, he was Korean and in Japan, but was the greatest home run hitter ever back there. Yeah.
Sadaharu O, right, the Japanese Babe Ruth. Fran from Visalia, California. Thank you, Peter, for creating such a show where you just feel good every week. Thank you so much, Fran. I appreciate that. And adding Bill North is the topping on the cake.
Thank you so much.
Harold from Squirrel Hill, Pennsylvania. The Houston Astros shut them down after Game 3. Phillies could not adjust. Pitching is king. Hey, guys, talking Astros. Don Wilson, Enos Cabell, Cesar Cedeno, Larry Dierker, Alan Ashby. You start adding guys. Love your show. Oh, now you're talking. Don Wilson, Enos Cabell, Cesar Cedeno, Larry Dierker, and Alan. Now you're talking. Alan Ashby. Any thoughts on those fellas, Bill?
Knew them all. And Enos, we played together at the Giants, and they had another guy down there that followed me my whole career named Nolan Ryan, and Joe Morgan started there, and playing in the Houston Astrodome, and Houston is the most humid city I ever been in. But they have a history. Oh, they had J.R. It wasn't no fun going in there. Nolan Ryan and J.R. Richards. And they had Joe Negro. He threw good down there. Yeah.
How about Cesar Cedeno? What do you remember about him?
One of a really, really special person and a special baseball player. Laughed real loud and had a great personality, but was a tremendous athlete. He stole bases. He hit home runs. He played a hell of a center field. And they had a couple other guys down there. They had Jose Cruz and Bob Watson. But Cedeno was a true star. Yeah.
Did you and Cesar Cedeno ever commiserate over Leo Durocher?
I don't think so.
I think Cedeno finished off Durocher. Leo Durocher was an old guy, but he was no Dusty Baker, and if Cedeno had a guy like Dusty Baker, things would have been different. But Durocher thought, I've got to retire. No, he couldn't adjust.
Durocher was with my first manager with the Cubs, and he was a strange experience, but they fired him, and I came back to the big leagues. But that was like closing the barn door after the horse got out. And rest his soul, I don't like to talk bad about the.
Right. He's got.
Mama used to say, if you can't talk good about somebody, then don't talk about them at all. Let's move on.
Okay, a couple more. Steve from Corvallis, Oregon. Let me add Dickie Son, Bill Duran, and J.R. Richard.
Yeah. I'll tell you about this much. J.R. Richards, he's 6'7", and when he released the ball, you could smell his breath. He was right on top of you, you know, and Nolan Ryan, you know, everybody liked fastballs, and I say everybody likes ice cream, but don't nobody want a whole truckload, and Nolan Ryan's fastball was a truckload.
Bob from Oceanside, California. Let me start with the old Philadelphia Phillies. Greg Luzinski, Mike Schmidt, Warren Brewster, Randy Lurch, Bake McBride, Sixto or Cieto Liscano, Scott Rolex. Thank you, Peter and Bill, for starting this. Any thoughts on the old Phillies?
Man, they used to Pete Rose, and they had a center fielder named Gary Maddox. They had they had a bunch of them over there.
How about Greg Luzinski? What do you remember about Greg Luzinski?
I had a thought about him about 2 days ago, and maybe more because of the Phillies. And I remember that lineup. Mike Schmidt was, I'm talking about big money. He was a hell of an athlete. He's a big guy too, but he could hit. And he could play that third base, too. He was a star. He big time. But they had Pete Rose was over there. And oh, gosh.
Steve Carlton.
Yeah, I remember an experience against him. I played against him a little bit, but I hit him well. And one time in the late innings of a game, and I had faced him other places and stuff, but I came to the plate and I got him. It was a close game. I got him into the spot where he had to throw me a fastball. The count was 3-1. And I stepped out. And I said, damn, as long as I faced him, I've never had him here. Where he had to, I mean, that's how good a pitcher he was. Okay? And I never had him where he had to throw a fastball. And I had the cognizance to step out and say, don't miss it. And he threw that fastball, and I didn't hit very many home runs. But I hit this ball straight away center field, a little bit to left center, and it hooked down at the end and hit about a foot from going out of the park. And so I got a double, and he dusted everybody else out, and we were finished. But that's how good a pitcher he was. So many times as I hit against him, that was one time where I had him where he had to throw a fastball.
I'm glad. Thank you.
I'm giving him the credit more than me getting a hit. That's how hard he was to hit off.
Steve Carlton.
Yeah, he picked me off one time. First time somebody ever did, a left-handed pitcher did that spin-around move. And he picked me because I was just walking off the base, and he picked me off. And that's the only time it happened in my career. He taught me lessons there.
Only time you got picked off?
Well, the only time I got picked off, that's the first time I saw that move. Well, you know, and where he looked like he was going to home plate, and then he spun around. And I wasn't paying attention. And he got me. And I got picked off third base like that one time too. But those are the only times it happened. You know what? Hey, sometimes it takes one to learn. You know.
Yeah,
I had a good time. I got to play against what I consider the greatest players of all time. After being a kid and idolizing Mickey Mantle and Hank Aaron, I didn't get to play against Mantle, but I got to play against Mays and Carlton, Gaylord Perry, and Hank Aaron, Willie McCovey. All these guys were just great players. And I got blessed with the fact that I got to compete against them, you know, and learn from them. You know.
I'm glad we're getting comments from listeners who are throwing out names from the set, because that's exactly what I'm interested in hearing you talk about. I've been going through your teammates, but we're getting some of the star players, so keep those coming, dear listeners. Bake McBride, any thoughts on Bake McBride?
Bake McBride, he's the first one to play in. It's when Nike came out with, shoes that had rubber spikes and that, and because I always had to wear steel even on the carpet because I didn't feel comfortable in it. But he's a scoop boy, and he had a bad leg, but he could outrun down near. I mean, he's one of the fastest players in the game, and he could hit too.
About Sixto, or was it Sixto Liscano or they call him Sixto Liscano? Huh?
Sixto Liscano, Milwaukee Brewers. He played up there with Larry Heisel and Cecil Cooper and them guys. He was a good hitter, young kid. He was there with Yount and Molitor and those. Come on, man. They had some guys up there that could play. Robin Yount, he came up at 18, came straight to the big leagues, and played his whole career with Milwaukee. And this kid was class and a player at 18 years old.
Our guest has been Mr. Bill North, who played Major League Baseball from 1971 to 1981 and won the starting center fielder and leadoff hitter for the coolest MLB team of all time, the Oakland A's from the early 1970s. Bill, the time has flown by. Do you have any? We're out of time. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience tonight?
I just appreciate them, and I'm starting my own show on the 16th. We'll promote it and that, but I enjoy being with them and I'm in joy right now about baseball because of the accomplishments of one of my favorite people, and being able to talk about some of those guys in the old days. Game was different then, but it's kind of thing that there was a lot of talent out there, and they played the game on talent, not so much analytics.
Well, if you're going to have your own show, you can get Dusty Baker on, and you can get your teammates from the A's and so forth. That would be really something. Huh?
Exactly. I got a bunch of them that owe me.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to that. Sal Bando and Joe Rudy and Herb Washington and Vida Blue.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have them all.
Oh wow. Okay, we got to cut it short here, Bill. Thanks so much, Bill, for coming on the show again. What a gift! What a wonderful experience. Thank you. Thanks a million for everything, dear listener. Next week we're going to have Matthew DiBiase, and we're going to talk about his book, Lords of the Gridiron 2, Pro Football's Greatest Coaches 2022. We're going to talk about Vince Lombardi, Curly Lambeau, and Don Shula. And in 2 weeks, we'll have Bill North back again on the 22nd of November. Dear listener, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Good night, everybody. Thanks again, Mr. Bill North.
Thank you.
Wonderful.